Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Random Vlogging. Um, so, this is, I don't know, the fourth, fifth time that I've recorded this. Um, and each time, it's got me more upset. Mostly because the original topic I was going to talk about, I'm just thrown out the window because I can't come up with an effective way to say it without, at least from my perspective, sounding patronizing to people, and I don't want to do that. Um, what I'm going to talk about is what happened after I had recorded this. I think 3 or 4 times. Um, I was getting really upset. It's frustrating because I'm normally very good at speaking and choosing my words well, and it was just this specific subject is not one that's easy to talk about. And I may cover it in later videos, but for right now it's just not the right time to do it. At least not for me. So what ended up happening was I kept getting more and more frustrated because I really want to talk about this subject, and I kept trying to find different ways to say it, and it all just kept coming back to the fact that there are specific people that I know if they watch that video, I'm going to have a conversation with them that I'm not going to enjoy because they're going to take it personally, and they're not 100% wrong. They are one of the people that have inspired me to talk about that specific subject, and it wasn't something I was looking forward to, and it was upsetting me. And then my depression and anxiety kicked in. For those of you that don't know, back years ago, back my first time in college, I was diagnosed with uh, depression with anxiety, I think, is the official diagnosis that I have. Basically, I have depression, and it's set off by anxiety and stress. That's how it works. I'm completely unmedicated because my body doesn't tolerate it very well. The last time they put me on meds, it messed with my head majorly. Um, and I refuse to go on them again. It's just, for me, it's not healthy. For some people, it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, anti-medication. I get strep throat. I get antibiotics and stuff like that. But those specific meds didn't help me. Um, and the more I thought about it, the more frustrated I got, the worse the depression started getting. And that's the thing about depression is it's not like, it's hard to explain. It's not just, feeling bummed or anything like that. You just start to doubt everything about yourself, and nothing really matters. And it just gets worse and worse and worse unless you figure out a way to get past that. And there are a lot of different things that help. Unfortunately for me, my ability to deal with it is not, I can't use drugs. Drugs are actually, they're very effective for a lot of people. I can't use them. My body doesn't tolerate them, and so it's not something I can do. So I have to find other ways to do it. And a lot of times, the way that I do it is by planning my days. In the beginning of the day, I'll sit there and go, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And I will go through everything I think I'm going to have to deal with. Well, when I do this, I'm going to have to worry about this and this and this. And just by kind of getting that out there into the front of my brain and going, well, it's possible this could happen, 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 it helps me. For some people, that's not the way to go because they tend to fixate on it. For me, that's how it works. Unfortunately for me, that means when plans change suddenly, it messes with my head really bad, and it can force me into a really bad depression. Um, so there are times when I seem really inflexible, not because I actually am. It's not because my day is that important. 9 times out of 10, it isn't. But it's because I've already planned that day, And if I have to change the plan, it takes away from my ability to deal with the depression in positive ways. Um, and so I got really, really upset that I couldn't get this message out. And the depression made it worse because then anytime I said anything, I'm like, well, no, this is stupid. You're not saying it right. You're just going to piss people off. And it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And so I went. I just went on. I opened up my browser, and the first thing that pops up is Facebook because I like to. I don't talk with a lot of people unless they're watching my vlogs. So I use Facebook to find out about all the gossip that nobody has told me about. Um, that's what I use it for. And I message people every so often to find out if they want to be on my stream. Um, and this article popped up that the Jerd had made a comment on. For those of you guys that don't know who the Jerd is, Mighty Jerd is an amazing, awesome, wonderful person. He has a website called thejerd.com. He's got a YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel. He does all this stuff, but it's basically about he's a fitness guru type person, and he's amazing. And I was reading this article about how is a very, very poorly written article about how weight loss, permanent weight loss, is statistically impossible, which is a lie, by the way. If you really, if you give me enough time, I can find statistical proof of just about anything in the world. Just give me enough time and enough sample groups, and I can manipulate the data to make it say anything. So I don't particularly agree with that, and I looked through the article, and they had no sources. They had literally no support for this article, just hearsay. And so I'm like, oh, fine, whatever. So I'm reading the stuff that's happening. I'm specifically focusing on what the Jerd is saying because that's kind of what he does. And so I really wanted to see what it was. And so I posted a link to an article that I'm going to put in the doobly-doo about one of his recent success stories that it's a woman that he was able to help lose a fair amount of weight, get a much better she's much healthier right now. She's able to do a lot of really cool things. Check out the article; it's actually really cool. Um, and yeah, it got me thinking about me. I'm not particularly fond of what we as a country define as healthy and unhealthy because I think the numbers are flawed. Technically, the last time I checked, for someone of my height to be in shape, I would have to weigh somewhere around 180 pounds, somewhere between like 180 and 200 pounds. Since I have been my height, I'm about 6'4". Since I have been 6'4", I have never weighed that little. I have a large frame. I have thick, heavy bones, and I am overweight. And you can tell if I was to stand up. When I was in the best shape I have ever been in, I weighed about 200 pounds, which technically was still overweight, according to that. And I felt wonderful. I had a flat stomach. I didn't have a six-pack or anything like that. I don't think I can have a six-pack, to be perfectly honest. I don't think my body's built that way. But I had a flat stomach. I could do whatever I want. I regularly could do probably about 45-minute long martial arts high-intensity workouts. So basically that was me, just doing hardcore punches and kicks in short intervals but high intensity, and it's very effective for weight loss and other things like that, and it was fun, and I could do everything that I wanted to. I could fit into pants that I wanted to. I looked good. I felt good about myself, and according to that, I was still technically overweight. I was still technically unhealthy. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in that, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt right now I am unhealthy. I am overweight by every definition that you could have for it. And it's causing problems. It is. So the last time I saw my doctor about my depression, he mentioned that there are some other drugs that we could try. And I told him, I said, you know what, I reacted so poorly to the drugs last time. I'm not willing to take the chance that the side effects that happened before could happen again, because were they to affect me that way, they affected my ability to problem solve and to think clearly. And at that point in my life, and still, my mind has been kind of my thing. I've never been super strong. I've never been super fast, but I've always been able to think very quickly. And it's something I've taken great pride in, and the drugs took that away from me. When I first got on them, I couldn't get to the end of a sentence without forgetting what it was I was trying to say. I lost my ability to play uh, moderate to difficult music, because I would look at the page and it would take me too long to translate dots on a page into notes, into fingerings, into articulation, into breath. And then by the time I did all of that, the rest of the band was two measures ahead. So I couldn't play jazz anymore. That was one of my biggest releases from my life, was playing jazz and improvisation. I couldn't do any of it anymore, and it hurt me real bad. It got me into some very, very dark places. So I wasn't going to do that. So he said, well, they've done studies and they found that if you can have, I think it was like 120 or 130 minutes of aerobic exercise a week, which really isn't that much, that can be as effective as medication for treating depression. Specifically because when you work out, you release endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. And endorphins can help battle some of the symptoms of depression. So I actually contacted Jared at that point and said, hey, listen, due to my specific issues, I can't really handle going to a gym. The anxiety problems that I have when I get around a lot of people that I don't know, I freak out. I have panic attacks. It'll get to the point where if I think I'm going to be around people that I don't know, I can have panic attacks, and I will spend all day in bed. It happened when I went to Gen Con. I went down there Thursday and I skipped a couple of things that I actually signed up and I'd actually paid for because I couldn't handle it. And all of Friday, I didn't leave my bed in my hotel room. I missed every single event I signed up for on Friday because I couldn't deal with the fact that I was in a new place. I didn't know anybody and there was all these strangers around. And Gen Con is one of the nicest places I've ever been. The people there were fantastic. They were all welcoming and wonderful people, but I freaked out because of my anxiety. So I mentioned this to him. I said, hey, can you give me some tips, stuff I can do in my apartment uh, that's not going to, annoy my neighbors and stuff like that. And we got up a little dialogue going, and I think he just got busy because he's unbelievably busy. And I don't, to be perfectly honest, I don't really remember if he ever gave me something concrete to do, or if he just pointed me to some of the videos that he's made, because he's made a ton, and they're really, really awesome. But I never followed through on it. I gave up. Part of that was depression. Part of that was a billion other things happening at the same time. I just like, no, I'm not gonna do this. After reading his little success story from this woman, I've come to the realization, especially since I've been noticing what's been happening in my own life, and what's going to keep happening now that I'm losing my apartment and I'm having to move and things like that. My depression is getting worse, and my anxiety issues are getting worse. And again, I won't take the chance that if I go on medication for it, it'll do the exact same thing it did the last time. So I need to change, flat out. This is becoming a necessity. Bad things are starting to happen. So what I'm going to do, because every single time that I've tried to do this, I tend to get my own way a lot. It's much easier for me to sit down and watch, TV or Netflix, whatever, or play video games than it is for me to go, no, you're going to spend half an hour and you're going to work out. Even though I've done it before, because of my depression and anxiety, I will have panic attacks about working out because I'm worried about what's going to happen and if I'm going to be able to do the things that I planned the next day if my body's hurting. My mind is a very messed up, screwed up place. so it hasn't been working. And so what I'm going to try, I don't know if this is going to work. But what I'm going to try is every week, one of my random vloggings is going to mention, if not both of them, is going to mention what I've been doing that week as far as working out. And it's probably going to start off as maybe once a week type thing where I do 20 or 30 minutes, because right now that's really all I can handle. But I'm gonna basically start doing one random vlogging a week, or at least part of a random vlogging every week, where I mention this is what I've been doing for the past week. These are the workouts that I've been doing. This is how often I've been doing it, and I'm going to try and use that to hopefully keep me on track a little bit better. I'm going to contact the Jared again. Again, he's like super busy, so I don't know how much help he's going to be able to offer me because of everything else he does. But he's a wonderful, caring, great individual, and I'm sure he'll be able to give me at least some pointers on what I can do. And I'm going to slowly try to get to the point where maybe I'm not, I don't think because of my specific body type I'm ever going to be in shape according to the stuff that I've read, because I'm a big guy. But I think that I can get to the point that I can be healthy again, and it's all about it's all about changing your habits, which is very difficult. Especially the older you get, the more difficult it is to change your habits. It's not about eating healthy. It's not about exercising regularly. It's about getting in the habit of eating healthier. It's getting in the habit of exercising regularly. So, what I'd like to ask for you from you guys is just a little bit of support on this. Shoot me a comment in the video. Shoot me a tweet. If you know me on Facebook, say something on Facebook about this stuff. I really do need some help on this, because it's not something that I can take care of on my own. Because I've tried it over and over and over again. I just fail again and again and again. If anyone wants to try and do this with me, we can both make videos about it every week and stuff like that. I'm 100% for that, because it helps to have someone to do it. But right now, with the anxiety and the depression, I can't go to a gym at all, really. It terrifies me, to be perfectly honest. Meeting new people and stuff like that gets harder and harder every day. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so starting this week, hopefully tonight, I'm not sure, this conversation has been very difficult for me. So I don't know if I'm going to have the motivation enough to start tonight, but I'm going to try by the end of the week, which is 2 days away, to at least get one like 20-minute to half-hour workout session, and then go from there. So yeah, in the comments below, like I said, encouragement is really welcome. Accountability is really welcome as well. If you guys notice next week I don't mention anything about it, shoot me a comment or a tweet or something. It's like, hey, you didn't say anything about what you're doing this week to get healthy. What are you doing? Yeah, really sorry this has been a long video, but again, this has been really tough for me, and I'm hoping just by making this public that it'll give me a little bit more motivation to stick to it this time. All right, so again, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys sometime, because I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do a Friday feature focus tomorrow. But bare minimum, you guys will see me on Monday, because D&D High Season 2 starts on Monday. All right, so that's all. Bye-bye.